It's 2021! Woo! We're just gonna throw 2020, we're gonna throw it over there. Now, I do want to start this video by saying that for me, 2020 wasn't all atrocious. It was a very, very, very weird year. And for a lot of people, in fact, probably most people, it was a very pants year. It felt like life was put on hold for so much of the year. So many things I wanted to do, I couldn't do because of the pandemic and just the mess that everything's been in. So yes, it was absolutely atrocious. However, throughout 2020, I had a couple of my own personal achievements that I feel proud of. So just to very quickly touch on them, because I feel like it is important that we are able to celebrate the positive things that we're proud of as well, no matter how big or small they were. So for me, in rough chronological order, at the start of lockdown, because of lockdown, I was that's not a word. I was able to restart my YouTube, which you're on at the moment. I started my YouTube channel back in 2016 and I probably ran with it for about a year and never really exceeded past about 100 subscribers. And then with more time in the pandemic, because I was working from home, so I didn't have the commute, I had my lunch breaks at home, I was able to start back up my channel. I have always loved filmmaking. I did film production at university, I did filmmaking courses before whilst I was at school still. I've just always loved it, and for me to be able to start this back up again has allowed that passion in me to spark. And I want 2021 to be a year of videos for me. I want to get more creative with my videos. I want to do more videos for you guys. I want to do more different types of videos. Saying that, this is just a talking to camera video, so this isn't exactly anything completely amazing. I've not hired any amazing performance acts to be going behind me in this Christmas treeless gap. But doing videos again has allowed me to expand that part of my brain, which is making me feel really good. So I'm really proud of myself for doing that, and also being able to reach 5k followers, subscribers on this channel. So thank you guys so much for that. As well as that, content creation achievements as well for me have been that I have reached 30,000 followers on my Instagram, which is insane. I'm nearing 34,000 at the time of filming this, which is just bonkers. And I've also won an award that is for Best Established Blogger or Creator, I suppose, from the UK YA Blogging and Vlogging Awards, which is just huge. And I can't believe I've got that. Last year I won Most Inspirational, the year before I suppose now. 2019 I won Most Inspirational, and then 2020 I won Best Established, and I'm just a bit mind blown that people like my content enough to vote for me and that kind of thing. So those things happen with my content. And then in September I moved into my own flat and became a homeowner, which is huge. And I say life has been put on pause, and it does definitely feel like certain attributes of my life have been put on pause. However, in a way, the pandemic and lockdown and things have enabled me to be able to do this. It's enabled me to know that this was a priority for me, and also to be able to know that I can work from home, so I don't have to live right where my office is anymore, and I can commute in because I'll be working a lot less in the office when we go back in. I'll hopefully be just doing 1 day in the office and 4 days at home, and just generally being able to shift my lifestyle, I suppose, to having this as my lifestyle, which is just still a bit mind-blowing for me, and I am incredibly proud of myself. So yes, 2020 was really crap, and it really could have been better, but I did have some good moments, and I am proud of myself. So that's not what this video is about, but quick reflection at the start there on the good things. Let me know in the comments what you're proud of for achieving in 2020, no matter how big or small it is. But what this video actually is my 2021 reading goals. It's taken me 4 minutes to say that, but that's fine. I have got them written down here. I will write them down somewhere a little bit better, a little bit more solid, but I was just trying to plan out what my goals were in light of doing this video, to what I wanted to work towards for the year ahead and what I wanted to achieve with my reading. First off, let's talk about my Goodreads goal. Goodreads is a platform that allows us to store our books that we have read. There's multiple platforms that do this, but I think it's fair to say that Goodreads is probably the most widely known and used. I am going to be looking at other platforms this year as well. There's a couple that I've heard of that I've got open on my computer to check out. But for now, we'll call this my Goodreads goal of how many books I would like to read in the year. So in 2020, I wanted to read 50 books, and I read 102, I think, or 3, which was double what I thought I would read. I can totally say that's because of the pandemic. Instead of going out with friends, instead of sitting with colleagues at lunch breaks and stuff, I've been reading constantly. So much. And now the fact that I live alone means that in my downtime, I'm not chatting to people I'm reading. So I was able to smash that. With that in mind, and the hope that we're not going to spend the whole of the next year in lockdown, I have set my reading goal at 60 books, which I think I will surpass if this year has been anything to go by. And a couple of the things I'm going to mention later encourage me to think I will surpass that. But I don't want to put pressure on myself. I quite enjoy having the Goodreads goal. I like that there because it feels quite satisfying, but I personally don't feel a tremendous amount of pressure to reach it because I still want to read to enjoy it rather than to reach this goal that I've set myself. But again, we'll go into that later as well. So 60 books, that's my 2021 goal. Something I've realised throughout 2020 is that I am really getting into thrillers, particularly adult thrillers. So the top goal I've written down in no particular order, I suppose, so it doesn't really matter that it's a top goal, but that is to read more thrillers. I have got a couple on my TBR and I'm really excited to get to them, but God, I read thrillers fast because you're just constantly gripped to see what's going to happen. And there are so many out there. It feels like you have to weed through the ones that aren't as well written and aren't as good versus the ones that are just going to blow your mind. But I just finished One by One by Ruth Ware, which was an adult thriller set in the wintertime in the Alps when there's been an avalanche and people are trapped in a villa house building thing. And it was fantastic. I read it in 2 days. It blew my mind. It was 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. And I want to feel like that about more books, so more thrillers are going to be coming my way in 2021. If you know of any good adult thrillers that really kept you gripped, please let me know in the comments. This next point I feel like I have to talk about rather than just plop it in there, which is read more deeply. Now, I mean kind of 2 things by this. I mean really, really read the writing. Really see the descriptions, really see the beauty and the lines that those authors have written, rather than just seeing it as a line and moving on, really appreciating the writing. And I think by reading works by Tolkien and other authors that are just really beautiful, for example, Midnight in Everwood, that was also stunning, that has really made me want to slow down a little bit and appreciate every single page, but also as part of that to appreciate character growth and characterization, because when I studied English literature, I looked at a lot of this kind of stuff and that was how I read for a while. And then when I didn't have to read like that, it was a relief. But actually, as a reviewer and a book lover, I think that's how I expand what I read more, by looking at it in a different way and thinking of it in a different way. I'm not saying I'm going to analyse things, and I'm still going to probably whiz through books and miss certain parts that I should have looked more over. However, I want to slow down. I want to appreciate the writing and not just read to get another book off of my TBR and onto my Goodreads completed shelf to work towards that challenge. Which is why I'm saying that I'm not feeling the pressure for the challenge this year. Arguably I could set my Goodreads challenge a lot lower, but I think 60 will be achievable. I just really, really want to absorb what I'm writing more rather than just reading it to tick off another book on a list, which isn't what I do at the moment, but it certainly feels like reading has become a little bit more competitive, which we'll go on to in a little bit. The next one is a weird one, and that is to read less hyped books. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I currently read whatever I fancy, but often if I see a book has a lot of hype, that will encourage me to look at it, as I'm sure it would anybody, and if I'm vaguely interested, I will add it to my wish list, or I'll add it to my Kindle, or I'll pick it up in a bookshop, and I will read the book, or have it on my TBR at least. And that is because I have been influenced by a lot of other people loving it, or a lot of other people saying they think they're going to love it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. However, what I've observed when I've looked back at my year of 2020 reading is that some of the best books I have read are actually books that probably barely anyone seems to have heard of, or I thought were big releases than they were, and they ended up not getting much hype at all, and nobody was really talking about them. 2 of the books that come to mind for this is The God Game by, I want to say Danny Toby, but that could be totally wrong. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. And also The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Parry. Both of those were books I read in January last year, and both of them totally different. The God Game is about a human killing AI, and The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep is about book characters that jump out of the pages. But both were books that I had definitely seen about, but barely anyone was talking about. And I absolutely love them both, and I think that was because I had no expectations. So I think the reason that I want to read less hyped books is because I will go in completely expectation free. As much as I will always make my own mind up, it is immensely difficult when a lot of people have said how much they love a book for you not to go into it thinking, I'm going to love this too. Whereas if you know nothing, you're going in blind, you've got a lot more of a chance of just forming opinions without anything influencing you, which I think is the best way to read. So for me, less hyped books may be the way forward. Saying that, I have a lot of hyped books on my TBR, so I'm certainly still going to be reading probably a majority of hyped books, but I don't want to forget to include the lesser known books in there as well, and also to give those authors an opportunity to be publicised if I've liked their works as well. So it's a win-win. Okay, this next one is what I've been building towards with all the other things I've been saying, but I want to feel less rushed. I definitely feel that this warrants its own video, but I have seen so much at the moment about how we consume books and the reasons we consume books and the ways we consume books. I have seen so many people reading so many books, which is amazing to be able to consume that many fictional stories. I've read 100, as I said, or just over, which for me is mind-blowing. I've never read over 60 in a year, so to read over 100 is insane, and I know it's because of the certain situations that have been different for me this year. But I have seen so many people reading like 200-300 books. I'm like, wow. Now, on a couple of times I've watched videos that people have been saying how they've managed to read books and stuff, and there seems to be such a regimen and a routine to the way that people read that read so many books, and that completely works for them. But for me it feels restrictive, and I think that there is a lot of potential restrictions with reading and being involved so much on the internet with it. For example, when you do a read-along or a readathon, you are reading a set amount of books to a set time, to a set genre potentially. It depends for everything. For example, Ashley and I hosted the Tolkien Along, which was us reading each of the Lord of the Rings books over the course of 4 months, including The Hobbit as well. That was great. I've just noticed my TV's about to turn off. My TV rudely interrupted me in the middle of my poignant ranty speech. But what I was saying was, yeah, Ashley and I doing that read along was great because for me that encouraged me to read the books, but I can't lie that when we finished I felt a certain freedom. I adored those books, and I have found that I absolutely love Tolkien's writing from doing that, but it certainly felt freeing to finish because I was like, okay, I can do other things. I don't have to read one of those books every month because they're so long and chunky and like filled with so much beauty that you really want to read them. So they weren't quick reads, they took the month to read alongside other things, but it felt freeing. So for me, this element of feeling less rushed is more in reference to the fact that I don't want to constrict myself with set goals. I will still take part in read-alongs and readathons, I love that kind of thing, but I'm definitely noticing more and more at the moment there seems to be like real how-tos for reading more and things, and I'm thinking actually for me personally I need to assess what my reasons for reading are, why I would want to read more, why I would want to read less, why I want to read what I'm reading at all, and just ease the pressure back and not feel like I have to rush through everything, because that isn't going to be as enjoyable for me. I keep saying for me because I want to emphasize that this is literally just how I read. Everyone reads differently, which is the beauty of being a reader. For some people, setting monthly TBRs works, for example. I personally find TBRs really restrictive because I'm a mood reader, and there'll probably be people watching this thinking they agree with me or they prefer setting TBRs. And I love watching videos of people setting goals and stuff. I absolutely love it when people do challenges, and the TBR games I so want to do, but for me I know it just doesn't work and it feels like a restriction on my reading. I feel like this has turned into more of a point than just not feeling rushed with my reading. Hopefully it makes some sort of sense. Basically, I completely love watching the content and love seeing people that set themselves goals and set themselves time frames to do things and stuff, but for me, I think I need to stop trying to put limits on myself in my brain as to when I need to finish things, and I do it in my vlogs. I'll say, you know, I really want to finish this by the end of the week, and I'm thinking actually, why do I want to finish it by the end of the week? Is it so that I finish a book in the vlog and it's better content? And if so, is that the thing that makes the content better? And if it's not for that reason, then why do I need to finish the book by the end of the week? Surely if I'm enjoying it, I just finish it when I finish it. Is this making any sort of sense? I'm gonna go on to the next point, but basically, don't want to feel rushed. Also, do you like my plaster? This next goal is one I bring forward with me every year, so this year is no different, and that is to enjoy every book. You might be thinking, Beth, how can you enjoy every book? Well, that is because I am a DNFer. DNF stands for do not finish. If I'm not enjoying a book or I'm not vibing it, I will either put it down to reread at a later date or start again at a later date because I think I would vibe with it more then. A good example of that being the Once and Future Witches. I completely enjoyed the start of that. However, I was reading it the week I was moving, and I was not paying attention in the same way that I would be if I read it now, for example. So I ended up putting my bookmark back in that one and deciding that whilst I was going to put it down for now, that was not a DNF. It was not because I didn't enjoy it, it was just because I knew I wouldn't get as much out of it if I read it then versus if I read it at a later date. Then on the other hand, there are books that I just know I didn't like. So I've taken my bookmark out, I've put them on my shelf, I've given them to a friend, I've given them to charity shops, and I've said that I'm DNFing the book. So that's how I enjoy every book I read, because if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not reading it. That's also why I end up rating a majority of books 3, 4 or 5 stars. For me, 3 stars I consider to be a good review, and 4 stars is like, yeah, really liked it, and 5 stars is like, it blew my mind, it's a new favourite, I adored it. So I will rarely give below a 3 star because I'm unlikely to have continued reading it unless there is some really specific reason why I've continued reading it, but I can't really think of what that would be at the moment. I like this next one a lot, and this ties in with a lot of the other things I've said because I've been having so many revelations, it feels, at the moment with reading. That is to remember why I love reading. So I think when you enter into the world of creating content for books, reading becomes something very different. It has always been about escaping to new worlds and just being able to fall into something, and honestly, I have just been a reader my whole life. My mum read to me before I could read myself, and then as soon as I could read myself, I was constantly reading every book I could find, so quickly, constantly, every time I was free, I was reading. And that was great, and I still am that person now, and I feel happy to say that that's been me my whole life. It's almost an identity in a way. So I'll always know why I love reading, but I think when you create content about books, there is a certain mindset that you need for that as well. You are aware of what's going on around you within the book community, you're aware of all the new releases, you're sometimes reading things because you're getting involved in read-alongs or readathons, you're doing things for videos, you're working with brands, and there's so much on top of the love of reading that sometimes you have to push it all back and think, no, this is why I love reading and this is why I'm doing all of this. And I think sometimes you have to remind yourself of that because it can be really easy to get swept away in the content creation, the consumerism, the pictures, the videos, the podcasts, and actually just forget that you just love escaping to a story. So I'm going to keep that in front of mind at all times. These final next 2 don't really help each other out, but the first one is to read more audiobooks. So this year I think I've read 15 or something audiobooks, which isn't as many as I thought I would have read, but Audible sent me a little summary of how many I'd read. I have read on SCRIBD as well, so that's not accounted for those ones, but I only got SCRIBD a few months ago, so I haven't been well, I think I got it in the summer actually, but anyway, I've been using Audible at the moment because I've been reading the Lord of the Rings books along with the audiobooks, so that's been on Audible, and that's been my audiobook each month. But I think that would be a way for me to read the different books that I'm desperate to read, because I'm so desperate to read so many books at the moment, and that's really hard with one of my reading resolutions being not to feel rushed, because I don't want to feel like I've not got the time to read all those books, so I have to rush myself through the other books. And instead I think my solution for that is going to be to pick up more books as an audiobook, because with SCRIBD you've kind of got unlimited listening in a way. I think I've got a link down below, an affiliate link for SCRIBD if you're interested. It's either 30 or 60 days free. If you've got no idea what I'm talking about, go check the link out. It's a really good audiobook streaming service. There's also Audible. Both are fantastic, but SCRIBD allows you to do it in a more unlimited way, whereas Audible is credit-based. But SCRIBD does limit you if you listen to too many like popular or new releases within a month, and then it resets. Something like that. But SCRIBD is really good if you want to reread anything, I'm finding. So for example, at the moment of filming this, I am rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses as prep for A Court of Silver Flames, which I'm very hyped for. And that is an audiobook on SCRIBD, and I will be listening to the whole series, and it's great fun. And I'm just listening to it as I tidy, as I just drive, like when I'm driving back home and stuff, my social bubble, I'm listening to it in the car, and it's great. It's just fantastic to be able to read when I'm not able to physically sit and read. So for me, that's a huge aid to being able to read more of the books that I'm really excited about. So reading more audiobooks is definitely a resolution for me, because I just really enjoy them and they make me happy. And the last point, finally, which contradicts the last one I've just said with audiobooks, is to put my phone down more. I was talking with my family over Christmas about our screen time reports, and mine is high, and I think I put my phone down more. The annoying thing about screen time reports is that it still counts listening to music and listening to audiobooks as screen time, even though you've got them locked and your phone's often not even near you, it still counts it, which is a little bit frustrating, because for me, I might be listening to music, but I'm not on my phone, it's just playing through my speakers at all hours of the day. So I am more tempted to use my computer to play that through the speakers than my phone. But I want to put my phone down more, because I find that as soon as a notification goes off and I want to check it, I will pick it up and just scroll through it for ages and distract myself from the reading I was actually really enjoying doing. So I definitely want to put it down more, leave it alone. What I've done over the Christmas break and will continue with is I've turned off my notifications for all my social media platforms because I didn't need them on. I didn't need to know the minute someone had private messaged me on Instagram or replied to a tweet. I just didn't need that, so I've muted all of those, and honestly it feels better because my phone isn't going off constantly. So that definitely feels freeing already, and I know that that has been more conducive to me picking up my book more than my phone. Oh, I've talked for longer than I thought I would. Oh, need a back support. I need to find a better place to sit when I'm filming these videos. Okay, the sun is going down. I've still got many videos to film, but hopefully you enjoyed this one. I hope you guys have a fantastic 2021. You can expect much more videos from me. I've got all of January planned out. I'm really excited. I hope you guys had a great New Year's, whatever you were able to do. I think I'm just having a little party of one with my disco ball, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will also be getting a new intro at some point, I think. I'm considering, because I've had my Christmassy intro, which you will be seeing in one more video because you've got a Christmassy video coming tomorrow, I think, by the time you're watching this, or it'll already be live. So that's the thing. That's going to be one more time because why not? But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it with my plastery thumb. You can subscribe. No, that's the wrong order. You can comment down below anything you'd like, or you can subscribe to see more of my face on your feed throughout January, February, March, all the other months, the whole 2021, bringing you positivity and yellow things. Keep smiling, stay positive, and Happy New Year. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic one.